How's it going, Guardians? And if you clicked on this video, then you're here for one thing, to see if Wavesplitter is actually a viable weapon now. And to be honest, it has not been good since Forsaken. So we're going to take an in-depth look at it and see what we can do with the new Void 3.0 changes. So stick around and maybe you learn something, maybe you find out something that you like, and maybe you might actually use a gun that has been considered one of the most terrible guns in all of Destiny. Okay, so first, a little bit about Wavesplitter. It is an exotic trace rifle that was added during Forsaken. It has a unique ability to switch between 3 different power levels, low being fairly weak, and high being fairly decent. It's kind of on par with Aggrosceptor Catalyst, but not quite as on par. But when you utilize it with Void 3.0, it's actually fairly decent. The trick to using Wavesplitter is going to be picking up orbs of power to force it into a supercharged state or a super battery state, giving you 5 seconds of that highest oscillating beam, which is actually fairly powerful, especially when you combine it with volatility, which we're going to be getting through multiple different sources, and we will be getting into that. That volatility on this gun, should honestly this be a catalyst within itself, is actually pretty powerful because trace rifles are the fastest firing weapon in the game, and you can make that volatility explode quite frequently and spread really quickly because, again, it's a trace rifle and it's this solid beam of damage. As far as our aspects and fragments, we're going to be using Child of the Old Gods, which I know not too many people are into, but that's kind of the focus on this build, is using things that people don't really use. We're taking one of the worst guns and trying to make it viable. Not only that, we're also using a aspect that no one likes and trying to make it a little bit better. So we're using that Child of the Old Gods and Feed the Void to get the Devour. The fragments, we're going to be using all the echoes of exchange, persistence, instability, and then undermining or provision. All of these are going to do different things, ranging from giving us volatility to giving us back our grenade or allowing our devour to last a little bit longer. Okay, as for gear and mods, if you have artifice gear, you're going to be able to do a much more in-depth build than what I can right here, because unfortunately I have no artifice gear. But the mods that I am using is elemental armaments. That way when I get couple kills with my trace rifle, I will be popping an elemental well. I'm using melee well maker, so that way when I get kills with my melee, I will be popping an elemental well. I am using font of might, so when I pick up elemental wells, I can actually get a increase in damage with anything that's matching my subclass. In this case, it's going to be Wavesplitter. I'm using volatile flow, which is going to allow us to get volatility whenever we pick up elemental wells, hence the armaments and the melee. And then we're using elemental time dilation, so that way we can have a little bit longer time with the font of might up. Now you could switch out elemental time dilation for seeking wells if you do not want to go and personally pick up your wells yourself. As far as generalized or utility mods, I am using Harmonic Siphon, so that way whenever I get a kill with something that matches my element class, which in this case again is Void, I'm going to be producing a Orb of Power. Now you can see the combo right here. When I get a kill or 2 kills with Wavesplitter, I run over, I will pick up the Elemental Well and the Orb of Power, both forcing the gun into a super battery state and giving me a damage buff with Void weapons on top of that. Now, if you also have Mantle of Battle Harmony on and you have your supercharged at max and you get in a fair amount of kills, that's another damage buff that will stack on top of both of these other damage buffs. I'm also using Utility Kickstart, so that way I can get my well back a little bit quicker, so that way I can use my Child of the Old Gods. I'm using Bolstering and Focusing Strike. As far as weapon mods, I am just using anything to give me trace rifle ammo. Definitely use the one for the headpiece to find more ammo for trace rifles, and then use the one for the feet piece so that way you can actually pick up more ammo for trace rifles. If you want, you can even throw a chest mod in there so that way you can hold more ammo for your trace rifle. And that's that, you guys. The name of the game right now is this to make Wavesplitter more viable in content, and with this build I've actually ran through the whole entire legendary campaign and didn't run into too many sticky situations. I would recommend having a decent heavy on, like a rocket launcher, like the Palmera that just came out, or even the Red Herring because it's Void, and this can kind of get you out of those situations when you have a boss in front of you, mainly because this build is for ad burn and crowd control. You will be destroying a bunch of the smaller ads really easily, especially in the supercharged state and when you are buffed up, and you will take out yellow bars almost just as quickly. I'm actually surprised at how well this did, but it could definitely be better. And my aspect here is that I kind of want the volatility to be added into Wavesplitter in the highest oscillation mode. Give Wavesplitter a catalyst, even though I know we're moving away from catalysts. If you give Wavesplitter a catalyst that when it's in its highest oscillation, or maybe when you force it into a high oscillation through picking up an orb, you get volatility for the 5-6 seconds that it's in that state. And that will make this gun way better than what it ever has been. I have some notes that I have wrote down right here, this to kind of give you guys a little bit of idea of what to do. You should keep a short to mid-range distance. That way you can actually utilize this gun to its fullest potential. The damage fall off is kind of really noticeable if you are too far out. So I would say stick in the submachine gun to auto rifle range, and definitely maybe have a longer range weapon as a primary, maybe something like Servant Leader or Night Watch or any other scout rifle. That way you can take out the ads that are at the long distances. Have those rockets so that way you can take out bosses a little bit easier, and then use your trace rifle, Wavesplitter, pretty much for every other mobbing situation. Hey guys, this one to add real quick from the future that you cannot force the Wavesplitter into its highest oscillation state if you already have your supercharge at max. So be sure to use those Nova Bombs so that way you can force the gun into its highest form. And that's all I wanted to say with my future self. Back to the video. And I'm telling you, you're gonna have fun with it. But I'm not gonna lie to you either. Like I said, this is not the best of all builds. I could optimize it more with Artifice gear. Not only that, it's Wavesplitter. It was never going to be on par with Gallahorn, and honestly, it was never going to be on par with my Aggroceptor build, where I had infinite supercharge all the time. The whole name of the game in this was to take one of the worst guns in Destiny and see if I can apply it to Void 3.0 and make it fun and make it somewhat viable. And I believe that I did do that. So if you have any questions, comments, complaints, concerns, anything like that, feel free to leave in the comment section down below. And yeah, if you enjoyed it, you guys, maybe leave me a like and subscribe potentially. But until next time, take care and peace.